guys, it is now Saturday. I'm kind of upset I never picked up a camera yesterday, but we got a ton of progress done yesterday. Still on track for starting it today. What I'm doing right now is, since I've been using my desktop more lately, that's what I've been doing all the Fuel Tech stuff on, like just learning and things like that. I'm actually going on my laptop right now and I'm setting everything up. So actually I just updated the ECU and my laptop, and I just set the page that I want to visualize everything with. So you got your RPM, boost, O2 readings, coolant temp, back pressure, rear wheel speed, oil pressure, fuel pressure, coolant pressure, wastegate pressure. And then I'll have the TPS, burnout mode, and traction control. And then my data logger will be right here. So that'll be the main screen that I use. So I just set that up and I am saving it right now. Like that. So I just save everything over to the ECU. It should download it now. And then we're good. Obviously it's kind of pissed off since it's not hooked up to anything, but that is what I'm just doing right now. I'm just now waking up. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, I was under the car working on until about 3:30. I actually fell asleep under the car last night. Something about cold concrete is pretty comfy. But yeah, so what I need to do right now is I'm about to remove the battery. I have to take it to advanced to make sure they load test it. It's good, because it's a yellow top Optima and the car's been sitting for about 1.5 years. So I want to make sure the battery's good. And then I got to make a couple of power cables, finish up the fuel lines, and should be ready to start testing the ECU and test the electrical system and seeing how everything is. So I'm gonna take you in the garage right now. I'll show you the progress myself, Austin, and Grayling made yesterday. So thankful to have them help me yesterday. A huge help. But the engine's about 99% ready. I just gotta put oil in it. Put the oil in the trans, put oil in the diff. Should be rocking and rolling today, so check in the garage. Check it out. Got the subframe put back in with the steering rack. That way I can connect the steering column. Driver's side header, plugs, wires are on. Alternator's on. Even got the proper belt now. Oil feed, oil return's done. Obviously the exhaust is in place. I made a little line for the back pressure sensor. Everything for the plumbing of the CO2 is hooked up. Boost controller is hooked up. The line goes through here to a bulkhead and goes up to the CO2 bottle. Breather lines are on. All the fuel lines are on. So the feed is here. It goes into a Y block. Fuel line runs up here. It runs through the rail. It loops back into the regulator. And then regulator goes out to the back of the car. Got everything hooked up. The throttle cable is even on and hooked up. Which is weird because I haven't had that on yet. And you can see the throttle cable, it's a low car. It comes up through here and bada bing. And just for aesthetics, I went and made my brake line yesterday for the master cylinder. I think it's pretty sweet looking, I'm happy with it. So what I need right now is I actually have to get a nut for this alternator wire. I think it's a metric 5mm. So go ahead and bolt that on. And I gotta pull the battery out to go ahead and take it to advanced so I can get it load tested. A couple of years ago when I had the 4-cylinder, I actually put a yellow top Optima in here and had to modify the battery holding area to fit a larger battery. But yeah, I want to double check that, load test it. I got some wires I gotta bolt back up to the cage, but I got little things today. And then yeah, the plan is to fire the car in a few hours. So I'm gonna go through and tie up everything, loose ends. We have to put the fuel cell in. I'm gonna clean the fuel filter, probably spray the pull the pump apart, clean the pump, make sure there's no gunk from the E85. But the goal is to fire the car today. It's obviously not going to be running and driving today, but it will be running. Like the engine's going to start, and hopefully I'll be able to rev it up a little bit. My tuner says the base map calculator for the Fuel Tech's actually pretty good, so I hope he's right. And I hope this thing will be able to run and idle smoothly without many adjustments on my side, since I'm not 100% confident with my tuning abilities. But hey, we're gonna take it as it comes. But the engine is in, it is complete. It just needs some oil and it needs to start. So I'm gonna catch up with you guys a little bit later. I got some work to do. All right, so I got interrupted by neighbor dude. He was curious about the solid axle on the driveway. But if you see something funky here, I have my breather off. I have that. Oh, I think I know what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, let's take this guy right here. Oh shit, I can't open one hand, hold on. These are tight, man. These are really tight. Take you off. And what we are doing right now, or me. Take this bad boy right here. Take that boy right in there. Oh yeah, nothing but the best, VR1. So putting 7 quarts in it to fire it. Well, I'll prime it, then obviously fire it, but filling fluids. Here's the fun part. All right, so it's like 9 o'clock at night. Actually 9:40. For the first time ever, actually just livened up the panel. All the buttons that I clicked worked so far. I have to put fuses in the rear fuse panel, but let me show you how kind of ghetto this is. Luckily, Graylin and Jeff did the tranny fluid and the gear oil, but I have my little my fuel tech panel here. So all I'm gonna do is jump 1 wire. I have my ARC panel right here, so I can turn on and off the fuel pump. And then hopefully we're gonna prime it in just a sec. When I put power to the ECU, we'll prime it. If everything checks out, we'll check engine oil one more time and then try to fire it.
Send it.
We're gonna send it. And Miggy is playing the role of Jeff for once. He's just sitting around and eating.
No, I just asked you a minute ago if I can go get food. You told me no. I'm just here for emotional support.
Thanks guys.
That's usually my job.
We're gonna, I gotta put fuses in the back.
Right.
They already filled the tank.
I thought about that just now.
I'm gonna go ahead and wake her up.
See the spark?
Alright, so what I'm doing right now is me and Graylin are going through the whole harness, and you can test the output number 6. So if I hit this lightning bolt, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to hit it right now, and you can hear that. So I'm going to give Graylin the camera, and he's going to demonstrate this. So I'm going ready.
Good.
Alright. Alright guys, I got a bit of a confession to make. It's currently Tuesday. So the last clips that you see, they were from Saturday. Got us so excited, primed the motor with oil pressure, cranked it over. It ran for like 20 seconds and died. Still have been chasing that bug. Everything in the computer is telling me cam sync failure. So I actually sent the map over to my tuner, Sergio at King's Performance, and he goes, oh man, you got your values all wrong. So he actually took the map from me, adjusted everything he could see, and I just got it back into my tune. So what I've done now is I actually had to make my timing mark on an LS. They don't have any timing marks on the crank. Like on a Miata, for instance, conveniently enough, I have a cover right here. So using this cover right here, this actually tells you when you're at 0 degrees, 10 degrees advanced, or 20 degrees advanced. Well, on an LS, they don't have anything like that because it's all mechanically done timing. You can't adjust the cam or crank sensor. So what I ended up having to do is I took a tool called a piston stop. Oh, there it is. I took this tool, it's called a piston stop. You actually have to thread it into the spark plug hole all the way in. You'll spin the crank one way until, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. You have to pull the valve cover off, pull the 2 rockers for the first cylinder out. You thread the piston stop tool in, because if you don't pull the rockers, they actuate the valve, and you'll actually hit the valve with this first instead of the piston to get a false reading. So what I had to do is remove both cylinder 1 rockers, remove the spark plug, insert this tool. I threaded it all the way in, and now you spin the crankshaft until it hits the piston stop, and then you rotate the crankshaft the other way until it hits the piston stop, and then your top dead center is going to be directly in between those 2 marks. So then I had to make a little custom timing pointer. It might be difficult to see this. I'm going to try to get you in there. All right, so now we're in here. You can see right here, I actually took a piece of TIG welding wire and I made that. And then if you look right here, my finger's at, you can see that I made my timing mark. So whenever this line lines up with this pointer, the car is at 0 degrees timing. So what I'm doing right now with the Fuel Tech software is I'm actually setting my base ignition timing. So you basically adjust this number until the light on the timing light meets directly on your mark on the balancer. So I'm going to go ahead and show that for you. It should work. Oh man. So today is Thursday. I believe it's it's April 2nd. The car fired up twice now, but we can't keep it running. I know this video is kind of all over the place now. I've got several clips in from several days. So we know we have good oil pressure. We have obviously good fuel pressure. She sounds healthy, but we're just having some weird issue with the cam and crank sync. This past week, I haven't really touched it too much just because my work schedule. Work's been absolutely crazy with the coronavirus deal. But I had my tuner look at it and he changed some settings and he ran out of time to remote tune for me. He told me to call the guys at Fuel Tech. I had a guy work with me for about an hour before he went to lunch, and then the afternoon he had pretty booked. So he was only able to help me for a little bit. And when he was helping me, he changed a couple of settings. We actually got the car to fire up again for a very short period of time. Unfortunately, I don't have any video of that because I was by myself in the garage. So now here we are on Thursday. I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't really feel like touching the car today. I don't know what happened this past week at work or whatnot, but I was actually in the hospital last night. I don't know how, but I think I got a spider bite. So I had to go to the hospital, and basically they said if the redness spreads past the circle, then I have to go back to the hospital and get things even more looked at. But he said they actually gave me an ultrasound of my arm and couldn't see anything majorly wrong. Like no cavitations, or I don't know, they use some big words that I don't get. I'm not a medical guy. So anyway, so tomorrow I sent the guy over to, I sent an email to Garrett at Fuel Tech just to see if maybe tomorrow we can remote in and try to give this a whirl again. If it's something that we can't figure out, I'm gonna start pulling the motor apart and seeing if it is something mechanical. I don't really think it is mechanical. Whenever we're cranking it, it sounds really healthy. It sounds like it's on all 8. And honestly, if the cam timing was way off, or if it was even out of time mechanically wrong, it would have wrecked every valve in it. But the only other thing that we can possibly think of is the reluctor wheel that's pressed on the end of the crank. Maybe it's out of whack to where it's not centered on the crankshaft how it's supposed to be, but that's all speculation. I'm just at a point where, like, obviously I have no rush to finish the car now, especially now Florida, midnight tonight is now under an essential only lockdown, which in my opinion should have happened weeks ago, but that's just me. I am an essential though. I work at a grocery chain distribution center, so I still have to work, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for me, I am a very fortunate person. I still have work. I'm still able to get a paycheck. I know a lot of people out there are struggling. My heart's out to them. It's tough times. This virus is no joke. Everyone thought it was a joke at first, and now the reality is starting to set in, but I just wish people were a little bit more careful about where they're going and actually caring about the rest of the world. It's a very selfish world these days. But now I'm gonna be home, basically either at home or at work, unless I have to go actually get something at the store. But this is where she sits for now. I mean, it looks like a bomb went off, but yeah, man, I'm just kind of at a point now where it's really discouraging. With my 1.6, I was pretty much I don't know the proper term I'm gonna use, but I guess I was babied, or no, not babied. Either way, when I got the 1.6 fired up, a friend, Pat Reynolds, he had the exact same electronic setup I had. AEM computer, LS coils, Nissan cam angle sensor, secret stuff there. And I was able literally just to take his map, load it into my car, adjust the fuel tables because I had bigger injectors, and it ran. But this, it just seems like it's being a real pain. And even the guy at Fuel Tech, he told me that the reluctor wheel on the crank, it's called a 24X. He said that could be the biggest pain of an ass of a reluctor wheel there is, period. And the Fuel Tech just kind of doesn't get along with it sometimes. But I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update of where I'm at. Like, I've been kind of a ghost for a week because I've been anticipating this thing running and driving already, but the reality says that we still got some more fighting to do. So hopefully this weekend I'll have it ironed out. I'm kind of on a bunch of painkillers right now, so like I'm just not mentally able to mess with it right now. No concentration, so I'm just gonna chill out for the night, and I'm definitely gonna watch the Freedom 500 tonight that Cletus is doing. It's the only car event going on right now. Yes, it's pay-per-view. It kind of sucks, but I mean, $10 isn't all that much considering it costs $25, $30 just to go to the track, period. So, it's still going to be something I can enjoy. So, one thing also, I don't know if I ever put this in a video. My buddy at Hutch, Built by Hutch, he made me a cool air vent. So I used to have my gas gauge in the air vent, and since I don't plan on having a gas gauge up here anymore, I'm just going to put it in the trunk because it's not something I need to monitor all the time. Well, he made me this badass turtle air vent. And then also a guy over at Chattanooga CNC, he made me this freaking sweet badge for the back of the car. So it uses the old Mazda MX-5 font, but it's got a little twist. It's a MX 5.3. So I think that's gonna look really killer on the back of the car on the finish panel. So anyhow, I didn't want to leave you guys in the dark. I mean, I want to be as transparent as I can, especially with the car, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm not going to say I'm the first person ever in the world to do it, but I have the ability to possibly teach somebody else or help somebody else out through hard times working on a race car. I mean, not everything is easy unless you just got some crazy cookie cutter build, but I mean, this is by no means a cookie cutter build. So if I have any struggles, I just want to be honest with y'all. I mean, it's nothing to lie about, it's nothing to hide, but it's the reality of building a car. It doesn't always go smooth. To be honest, if Import Alliance was actually still a thing, like if the event didn't get canceled, I wouldn't have made it simply because of a tuning issue. And I don't know if it's my fault. I don't know if it's just we're having issues with the tuning aspect, electronic package, but I did confirm all the wiring is good. I just don't know what it is at this point, but I'm hoping we have it ironed out because I really just don't want to take this car apart again. It's a lot of, it looks simple, yes, but there's a lot of intricate things to putting it actually together. But yeah, as far as a complete engine and in the car, like short of a couple hoses, like I don't have the radiator lines on, but man, I am so happy with how this came out. She is a beaut. So anyway, guys, I just want to give you an update. No, I didn't die. I might actually die from the spider bite, but I just want to be honest with you guys and tell you what's going on. We got it to fire up a couple times. I did actually get it on video once of it firing up the first time, but I've never actually had it idling for more than 30 seconds. I've never actually had it at a sustained idle because I really want to hear how this camshaft sounds, but hopefully that will be next video. So I will catch you guys in the meantime. You guys have a good afternoon. Catch you later.